Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this momentous occasion. Tonight, we celebrate a remarkable legacy, the 45th anniversary of the St. Lucia School of Ballet. This institution has not only been a beacon for artistic excellence, but also a cornerstone of youth development and empowerment in our island's cultural landscape. And for nearly half a century, this has been a place of artistic training, a cornerstone of cultural preservation, community enrichment, and individual transformation. As someone deeply passionate about creating opportunities for growth and recognizing the value of education and the arts, I am honored to guide us through this evening of reflection, celebration, and inspiration. Tonight, we are joined by an exceptional group of individuals who have played significant roles in shaping the school's journey and extending its influence beyond our shores. We begin with a visionary whose leadership and passion laid the foundation for this school. Mrs. Teresa Collymore has guided countless students and inspired generations. Mrs. Collymore, we would really love to hear about the school, your outreach programs, sponsorship initiatives, and efforts to nurture talent across the island. Please share your reflections on the school's history and what the future you envision is.
Different kinds of ways in which to try to talk about the meaning of the very difficult task and achievement, continuing achievement of what Teresa has been doing for 45 years. That's nearly half a century. One very simple and enduring way to talk about it is to remind ourselves that being a full human being, to stand a chance of being a full human being, it involves integrating your mind and your heart and your body, all three working together. Without that integration, that unity of mind and heart and body, it's very, very difficult to live a good life, a full life. And sports and the arts are, to me, the areas in a nation's development that pay attention to integrating the heart, the mind, and the body. We saw the glorious result of that in Julian Alfred this year. The arts do that tremendously, absolutely. And within the arts, every art form has its own language. And within the arts, one of the reasons dance is special, and every one of them is special, but part of what makes dance special is that the way that the language of dance, even though dance always comes from a particular culture, the language of dance can straddle cultures because it's the body, and the body talks to everyone.
Today I stand here after 45 years of teaching dance in St. Lucia with wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and still learning. My heart is full of gratitude wrapped in a passion and perseverance with deep love for the art of dance, crowned by the leading of the Holy Spirit. The call was accepted, and in obedience, the mission taken, which is now 45 years in progress. 1979 began with humble beginnings. Then a teenage vocational student of the Royal Academy of Dance, also called the RAD, getting over culture shock, but did realize that there was a need to keep knowledge and physical ability current. So there was a call to action. With the encouragement and support from my parents, formal dance classes in St. Lucia began. The school continued to grow and prosper. Whoever or whenever a student entered St. Lucia School of Ballet and Modern Dance, namely the school, they became instantly a candidate to have their lives spoken into, becoming part of their future. This responsibility has been and still is taken very seriously by the school. Over these 4.5 decades of service, lives have been reached and shaped, some through dance and some with simple appreciation, having drawn the given opportunity to aid their self-development and interests. Many of our students have been Island Scholar candidates, generally high achievers. The school has become a sanctuary where one is safe, seen, and supported in salubrious surroundings. The challenges, however, some of them, presently is the staff. All hats are worn by one individual. Voluntary assistance does come occasionally, which is most appreciated. We are looking forward to a teacher or teachers qualified to come on board. The legacy is to be preserved. Location suitable for training is not readily available, and one needs from a facility are not met entirely. One tries to ensure health and safety. The private school now being conducted in school is having a negative impact on the students whose choice is to do well academically, but who also wish to develop and meet their artistic interests. But we have found that the students tend to be very heavily committed. To put on a stage production or demonstration is very challenging, as the students are so very heavily fatigued from long hours of after-school academic subjects. So we are imploring that the school is making an urgent change and making hours more flexible for our students. We have found that there's a hindrance in their spontaneity and then in the imagination. So we are just hoping that the school system will keep revisiting that. A subvention has never been awarded to the school. Since the COVID, we have had to move back full-time into our premises in Ballet Union, which is not owned by the school. Yes, there are advantages to this, but the financial commitments, the upkeep is tremendous. An aged facility with the hope of expansion is an immense challenge. But we press on. We press on. And the parents and students do enjoy the location. And again, we always engender the health and safety of the students and parents. So far, we've achieved success through, even though with the COVID, we have adopted the online platform, where classes can be conducted and examinations may be filmed. Before, the examiners would come every year, and they still do, but there is now an option that you can have your examinations actually filmed and sent up to a portal to the examining centre and be marked by examiners there. St. Lucia, the school has now established a world-class examining syllabi, carefully, scientifically structured for the preschooler to the senior citizen, which provide accreditation to higher learning all the way to tertiary, has been established for these past 45 and continues to progress. Established school whose reputation is now locally and regionally recognized, and most of our past students have become individuals with character, poise, who have become whole persons to take on the challenges and victories that life brings. We also have past students who have been registering their children. So the school does continue to progress. Vision for the future is that we are a hub for teacher training, because we believe that everyone should dance, and everyone who wishes to take a career in profession should be qualified and take on the study that is required. The school is still in operation because of the level and quality of the expertise that has been received and passed on, providing more choice of career options to provide teaching placement not only in the region but globally. Teacher exchanges, teacher mentoring. This is how the syllabus will continue to go on and hopefully continue through the Caribbean region and internationally. Mr. Platt will perhaps give you a greater insight of this and what is actually expected and what is to come in the very near future. It is paramount to acquire sound teaching that would help develop the artists to equip with a competitive edge when attempting to enter the market regionally and globally. This will have a positive impact on our tourism industry, marketing and entertainment. It is for St. Lucia to continue to have our youth stand out not just on the regional but the world stage. And again, Mr. Pratt will give you some more insight on this. Obviously, this will mean the need for teacher training, which you will hear as well, and dance will present to you the provision and opportunities available for everyone. We envision that the school become a hub for sound teaching for genres such as drama, voice training, musical theatre, added on to classical ballet, modern dance and tap. We also wish to introduce the teaching the physically challenged. Patients with physical and mental disabilities confined or not by a wheelchair, ill health resulting from strokes and dementia, Alzheimer. There have been studies revealing the benefit of dance for these conditions. So once again, I'd like to thank you for the lending of your ears as we press on. And please do not hesitate to contact the school, and any suggestions or even donations. We'd love to hear from those. And our mission in the school continues in St. Lucia. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Michelle Marius. I'm a former student of the St. Lucia School of Ballet and Modern Dance. Honestly, I joined the school when it was still called St. Lucia School of Ballet and started when I was about 8 years old and danced on and off until my mid to late 20s. In the St. Lucia School of Ballet and Modern Dance commemorating 45 years of existence, it is an opportunity for all of us to acknowledge the integral role it has played, not only in the country's performing arts arena, but also as a long-standing ambassador for St. Lucia that is invited to perform or have a seat at the table at important or milestone events. From its inception, and of course through its founder and director, Teresa Lowry Collymore, the school has been resolute in its commitment to providing internationally accredited dance training to its students, thus allowing St. Lucian dancers access to quality tuition at home, and more importantly, to be able to hold themselves proudly and unapologetically on the global stage, assured of the quality of the training that they have received. Further, and although there may have been and are other dance schools on the island, none has been able to consistently provide and maintain internationally recognized training and certification that can help the more academically inclined students matriculate into the colleges and universities of their choice. So even if you do not become a professional dancer or teacher, sitting dance examinations and having certificates give college and university applicants a competitive edge as being better rounded people who are more than just their academics. On a more personal note, and I'm sure those of us who have studied at the St. Lucia School of Ballet and Modern Dance can attest to, is a fact that the grounding provided has held us in good stead over the years. Classical ballet in particular is a field in which natural ability will only take you so far. You have to be disciplined, to practice relentlessly to build the necessary strength, flexibility, and grace that makes a performance look effortless. Developing that discipline, that perseverance, that grit from a young age has held me in good stead. When the going gets tough in life, I know what it's like to hunker down, apply myself to the task at hand, and push through. And I've been doing it most of my life, starting at my Saturday morning ballet class when I was 8. Congratulations and best wishes.
Hello, my name is Fabio and I am a composer and film director from the United Kingdom, and I am making this video to congratulate the St. Lucia School of Ballet and Modern Dance on their 45-year anniversary. I had the pleasure of coming to St. Lucia not too long ago and I met Mrs. Collymore, who helped me make 3 wonderful videos celebrating the culture of St. Lucia, the dance of St. Lucia, and the wonderful tropical locations that can be found in St. Lucia. We released these videos online and they've had an amazing response from the public, lots of views. And I was very fortunate enough to return to St. Lucia as well to perform the videos live and have their premiere there as part of the St. Lucia Independence Day celebrations in February. And not only did I have an amazing time there, and Mrs. Collymore introduced me to some wonderful people, including Alan Chastanet, the then Prime Minister, who enabled us to make these videos and kindly gave us permission to shoot in some wonderful locations. But I really got to learn the culture and the vibrancy and the life that goes on in St. Lucia. And I'm just amazed at the work Mrs. Collymore has done. The arts play such an important role in our society, and it's so encouraging to see somebody really championing them in a small island and really making such a huge difference, which is now reaching outside of St. Lucia to other nations. I know even for myself, the response I've had from the videos that we made in the UK has been so positive. We had so many people commenting, talking about it, and it was lovely just to be a spokesperson and just to share what wonderful stuff is going on in St. Lucia. So I really wish the ballet school and everybody affiliated with it many more years of success. I hope there's much more funding that can be put into the arts, and to people like Mrs. Collymore, who do a great job at really promoting not only culture, but the island of St. Lucia as well. And I'm wishing you all the very best from the United Kingdom.
Thank you, Mrs. Collymore, for reminding us that it all begins with a dream and the courage to pursue it. It is clear that the St. Lucia School of Ballet and Modern Dance is not just a school, but a community builder, offering opportunities that ripple through the lives it touches. Now, we welcome Richard Ambrose, whose creativity as a choreographer began here at the St. Lucia School of Ballet. Richard, how did the school shape your artistic journey from ISTD, advanced student, RAD, interclassical ballet syllabus, secondary school teacher, and performing dancer? And if you would, comment on the integration of traditional dances like quadrille and Creole folk styles with classical techniques. How does the school foster cultural pride through performances and collaborations with cultural organizations?
Thank you very much, Annalisa, for that. Quite a question. Incidentally, I'm going to mention to Mrs. Collymore that I absolutely hate that photo. But thank you. Thank you for your 45 years. Thank you for this journey that you've been on, which is undoubtedly has not been easy, but your perseverance allowed individuals such as myself to make headway in our dreams. I'm thankful also because of the family of the School of Ballet, the parents, the students who have allowed me to create, nurture, develop, and hone my craft. Without individuals to dance with, to practice my choreography, as Annalisa put it, I would not be on the journey that I am. There are interesting words in the question that I would like to highlight, words such as creativity, the idea of being an artist, that normally in our nation, we tend to dissuade individuals from pursuing those particular careers that are not articulated, the vocabulary of which is not part of the mainstay of the conversation in professionalism. But through the School of Ballet, I learned, and it was wonderful to welcome that genre, those individuals, those institutions. And that has helped me, I think, develop as an artist, as an individual, as a St. Lucian who is able to go out onto the world stage, engage in conversations with individuals all over the world, and contribute that St. Lucia does have a rich heritage, that we do have a culture that perhaps is not widely known, but is nevertheless interesting, intriguing. And through the vocabulary of the RAD and the ISTD, I'm able to make comparisons and have conversations. So sticking a little bit to the script, RAD and interclassical ballet. which I started as an adult, male, which seemed strange even to myself. But I think males especially, we like rigor, we like structure, we like challenge. And being at the school, I welcomed Mrs. Collimore's words, tutelage, the syllabi, the challenging you to, okay, you can't do it yet. And for me, this was amazing to believe that I could get there. She would tease a couple of times, and I remember getting my first set of results and her usual, well, Richard, I'm really sorry. I know you tried really hard, but, and then her usual pause, you got a distinction. So after your heart was in your toes, you learned. And I think, again, the atmosphere of the School of Ballet, the examinations, the structure, meeting the examiners who are from different countries, different cultures, you gain an appreciation for yourself. You learn to be confident. You learn that what you have to offer, what you bring to the table is valuable. And so, St. Lucian dance. What is the quadrille? What is the mulala? What is the widova? Dances that I had been introduced to as a child or at secondary school suddenly became relevant again. The conversations I would attempt to have with my peers seemed to have validity, because if the RAD sees the importance in a Hungarian traditional dance, why shouldn't we understand figure one and be able to distinguish it from widova or the polka? And so this stimulated my idea to do research, to confront my peers, to find out why don't we see ourselves and our history as important. And I thank the School of Ballet for that, because having a written syllabus to compare, to analyze, to pick apart, helped me prepare some of the questions and seek some of the answers for presentations that I would do on the Caribbean scene in terms of workshops, and discuss, okay, there are dances in PI that aren't exactly studied, that the musicality for which is not apparent to the average music listener. And so we have something to say. And to conclude, so that I don't go on and on, it is about Mrs. Collymore after all. It is about 45 years of meeting wonderful people who are in all parts of the world now. I want to question this saying, this phrase from Martha Graham, I believe it is, which is, dance is the hidden language of the soul of the body. And in the context of Mrs. Collymore, the 45 years have allowed the dance to come out. And so I appreciate that, whether it come through a comment by an individual that I walk with poise, then therefore I must be a dancer. And I think, well, I haven't been at class for forever. I'm not sure I'd classify myself as a dancer. But that yearning on the inside that we have to express ourselves as St. Lucians, the feeling and the gestures that come when we say, "My laddie, why?" The piche or the bloche that we recognize regardless of where we go, whether it is on the street or in carnival or our grandparents doing it, I feel further validated, because I understand that somewhere in a school, there's a syllabus being taught that allows a young person to understand that they can articulate, they can record, and they can promote themselves, their culture, their nation. So again, thank you to Mrs. Collymore, to the St. Lucia School of Ballet family, including Annalisa, who I watched in class and wondered how she did it, the other members of the panel, and Mr. Platt, whom I'm meeting. Congratulations to the school, and vive la danse.
Thank you, Richard, for reminding us that art is about finding and expressing our unique voices. Your insights remind us that dance is both a mirror and a vessel of culture, carrying our traditions forward into the future. Next, we'll hear from someone whose career exemplifies the transformative power of this school. Wesley Stevens began her journey from a student at the St. Lucia School of Ballet and Modern Dance and has gone on to achieve a remarkable professional career. Wesley, training the individual, body, mind, and spirit. Tell us how, for you, the school fostered holistic growth in its students.
Thank you, Annalisa, for the question. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure and an honor for me to be here standing in front of you to speak to you on this commencement of the St. Lucia School of Ballet and Modern Dance 45th anniversary press launch. I am Wesley Stevens, a former student of St. Lucia School of Ballet and Modern Dance, and I am currently an educator, dance educator, living and working in New Jersey. When I began my dance training at this school about 32 years ago, I'm aging myself, I had no idea the impact that this school would have on my life. But the truth is, your gifts will make room for you. I stand here and I remember the day when Mrs. Collymore had scolded me. I think it was in class, and I went home and I said, "Mommy, I'm not going back to dance school anymore. I'm not doing it, I'm done." And my mother brought me back to this school, and we had a conversation with Mrs. Collymore, and she said, "Absolutely not. She will not quit." So I trained at the St. Lucia School of Ballet and Modern Dance for 8 years, and then I migrated to the US, where I encountered in high school a young dance educator, LaShonda Cheney, who saw something in me and took me under her wing. Had it not been for the dance foundation that I received here in St. Lucia, my life would be different. The talent that Mrs. Cheney saw would not have been present. Truth be told, at that point in my life, dance as a career had never dawned on me to be something viable. However, I had garnered my technical foundation under the tutelage of Mrs. Collymore and began teaching at the age of 19, honing my creativity and my choreographic skills under the guidance of Mrs. Cheney. I was technically grounded, I was poised, I was graceful, and I stumbled into a career in dance. All because Mrs. Collymore had nurtured my talent from a young age. While teaching children brought me joy, I felt the need to fine-tune my dance experience and audition for the Dance Theater of Harlem School summer intensives, training under the late Arthur Mitchell and the current artistic director Robert Garland and many other Dance Theater of Harlem company members for 2 summers. Still after this, I did not consider dance as a career, to speak to what Richard just said, right? I did not consider dance as a career. It was my joy, something that I was very passionate about, something that allowed me to express my thoughts and my feelings without words. So I applied to and was accepted into Rutgers University with every intention of studying sports medicine. Lo and behold, after 1 month, my focus changed, and I followed the course studies for a major in dance and anthropology. I completed a Bachelor of Arts with honors double majoring in dance and anthropology. After graduating, I was accepted into NYU Tisch School of the Arts Masters in Arts Politics program, and still, I did not consider dance as a career. Suffice it to say, I did not choose dance. Dance chose me. My gifts made room for me. I performed on many stages, including the famous Apollo Theater. Dance allowed me to access to enter rooms, spaces, and opportunities that otherwise would not have been afforded to me. When I enter rooms, I command people's attention, not because I'm beautiful, not because I wear designer clothes, but because of the confidence that exudes through my poise and grace that was nurtured from my ballet training here in St. Lucia at the St. Lucia School of Ballet and Modern Dance. Now, as an educator, all the qualities and the skills that I've gained are passed down to my students. So while Mrs. Collymore is touching the lives of St. Lucians, her training has touched the lives of my students as well in New Jersey. Thank you, Mrs. Collymore, for all that you have done, and congratulations on 45 years teaching and educating young dancers here in St. Lucia.
Weslin, your story is a testament to the power of dedication and the support of a nurturing community. Thank you. Your stories remind us that the lessons of discipline, creativity, and determination learned in dance shape individuals for life. Now we welcome Mrs. Sadia Snack Prosper, attorney at law, former student of the school, a ballerina, and now the parent of a student at the St. Lucia School of Ballet. Sadia, can you give us some insights of the school's contribution to your journey, and perhaps share some information relating to your perspective of its impacts from a legal and institutional stance? What can we as a nation or community of lovers of the arts offer as a succession plan for St. Lucian art, ensuring that the school's legacy continues to inspire future generations?
Good day, everyone. And thank you very much, Mrs. Collymore. I think this is the first time that I've been asked to speak, not as a lawyer, but as a former dancer. And I'm grateful to have the occasion to do it on the 45th anniversary, or the commencement of the celebrations of the 45th anniversary. I would like to indicate that as a young person starting dance, I was shy, serious, and a bookworm. And I remain a touch shy, serious, and my profession keeps me firmly involved in my books. So dance hasn't been transformative in that sense, but has been hugely impactful on my development as a person and as a professional. And in what ways do I mean? My first dance class, I was 9 years old, not as old as young, much younger than Richard when he started, but I was 9 years old. I was the oldest in the class. I was the tallest, and therefore I felt every bit as awkward as any person could feel. And I was also starting with a handicap, having done dance of no sort at that time, and all the other students had come up through the pre-primary dance syllabus. And after my first dance class, I felt pain I had not known. I had not known what a muscle was. I had not known what first position was. And the simplicity of merely standing in dance, poised, caused every muscle in my body to ache. But it got a little easier and sometimes a little bit harder. But every day I committed anew and afresh to improving. And after my first grade examination, I achieved a distinction, and it facilitated motivation. But what that taught me from a very early age is that out of discomfort, being uncomfortable is important to growth, and there cannot be growth without it. Still in that vein, so being shy and an introvert, I avoided the spotlight. I was not lacking in confidence, don't mistake me, but I didn't see the need to step outside myself, to force myself to express that which was not absolutely required. And Mrs. Colmo, probably seeing that little tendency, would single me out in class. Sadia, we need you to demonstrate this exercise, put me in the forefront for the various school recitals. And before I knew it, again reluctantly, I was on the stage at the Cultural Center, and then on the national stage, being the female lead in Esperance, Hope of a Nation, on the occasion of the 30th anniversary of St. Lucia. So the introvert learned the importance of stepping outside herself and being expressive. The third thing I should say that I took from my experience as a young dancer, as I said, and perhaps because I'm the daughter of a politician, I was very alive to the importance of verbal self-expression. And dance introduced me and caused me to think about the importance of nonverbal communication. So when we think about ballet, we think about fantastic, great movements and gestures that are dramatic. But in the studied art of dance, you learn the importance of gesture and the communication even in a breath. And in my personal life, I wouldn't like to say in the study of people, but certainly as a lawyer, that has carried so much in my engagements, and it has facilitated me in the courtroom. The fourth thing I should like to say is dance has been humbling and at the same time empowering. Why humbling? I cannot tell you how many times I found myself flat on the floor in the dance studio and having to get up. And yes, Mrs. Colmo did tease. It was also humbling because you had dancers like Lucia who could turn up pirouettes with relative ease whilst I struggled through and continue to struggle through, if I confess. Richard, who was unbelievably flexible, and Weslin, who was an athlete, I would say, in her execution of Allegro, which are jumps. And so I had, among my peers, to seek mentorship and to seek encouragement and learn. So I learned to be mentored by my colleagues, and I learned to mentor, especially as I became a more senior student in the school, and then the only adult at one point dancing with the school. And so that, for me, and that exchange, that engagement, that recognition of each person brings strengths and weaknesses, and we can learn from each other and support each other, not necessarily in a competitive way, has been instrumental in my development and in the way that I work with my colleagues as a lawyer and how I engage with people generally. And I'm often asked, I'm now a mother to 2 children. My daughter is 7, and she's a student with the school. And everyone says, oh, of course, your daughter is dancing. You're forcing her to dance. I don't force her to dance. She wishes to dance, and for that I am happy. But I would say that because of what dance has done for me, personally, professionally, I wanted to share that experience with my daughter. Not transformative, but hugely impactful experience. And so I think now more often on it, because I see our young people, my own daughter, you have to try to find ways to keep them offline, to get them to disconnect from their devices. And yes, there are many pursuits. There's swimming and all other manners of athletic pursuits. But as Richard said earlier, where is the creativity that is fostered. And with the increasing and potential influence of artificial technologies, is there a real risk that our young people can be seriously constrained in their development and their creativity? And we must remember, creativity is not just a thing for the arts. It's a door to ingenuity. In terms of, I was asked to speak to what the impact of the school is as an institution and perhaps to speak to the legal impacts. And what I would say and remind our St. Lucians is that we are not a group, we are not a troop, we are a school. And we therefore engender dance education and training. There are all the formalities of a classroom, there is structure, there is a syllabus, and you are measured to a standard. You are then examined against that standard, and you have therefore a sense of achievement. It also, of course, creates tremendous opportunities, which Richard and Wesleyan both spoke to. And needless to say, the qualifications for teaching. And I must emphasize, Mrs. Colmo spoke to safety in the pursuit of dance, and an important element in ensuring our young people are safe in the classroom is to be trained by professionals who have been properly qualified to teach. And as I indicated, being trained in that formal environment facilitates, opens doors and creates opportunities. As a succession plan, Mrs. Colmo, I wouldn't want to speak too much on it because I think she has very well articulated what the vision is for the school. But I would like to see greater opportunities for the Royal Academy of Dance to collaborate with us and to reach out so that we can enhance and continue to dance with a spirit of excellence. I would like to see further and better engagement through the RAD and its sister schools across the world to enhance opportunities for our children to study and travel and learn dance and perhaps take their examination at dance centers across the world. And this is ever more important in the context of St. Lucia, our tourism industry, where the entertainment is such a vital and critical part. There are opportunities, and we must embrace them, and we must rise to the occasion. So I thank you, Mrs. Collymore, and I'm delighted to have had this opportunity, and I do hope that I've reached a few St. Lucians who can appreciate you need not be a dancer, but you can certainly have a meaningful engagement with dance that is impactful. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sadia. I will say, your speech really brought back some memories. Definitely, I don't know, which one, if it was taking the falls on the floor or landing the perfect pirouettes, but I would like to say that, Sadia was a dancer that I definitely did look up to. I know she always says that she looks at me for my pirouettes and so on, but Sadia was amazing, probably still is. But this evening is a celebration not just of the past 45 years, but of the limitless possibilities that lie ahead. We understand from your council that we must continue to support the arts and institutions like the St. Lucia School of Ballet and Modern Dance that enrich lives and inspire futures. Our final speaker is Mr. Alistair Platt from the Royal Academy of Dance in the UK. The RAD has been a vital partner in upholding high standards of training, fostering discipline, and unlocking artistic potential. Mr. Platt, would you clarify how the RAD, a global dance awarding body, supports education and training across the world? The floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me to join this very interesting discussion and panel. I think you've heard the virtues of movement and dance and creative education from the wonderful personal stories that have come out already. And what I will try and do here today is is express how what is happening here in St. Lucia is truly connected to a global standard and a world community for dance education. I would like to start with a little video here that will just express kind of where the Royal Academy of Dance, a royal charity in the UK, is set at the moment in our kind of heart and soul. And hopefully that'll give you a flavour, and then we can get into some of the details.
Why do I dance? I dance because I want to be like them. I want to dance, to perform.
I want to shine in the spotlight. I want to be a dancer.
I love teaching dance. It's my calling. Some people don't know there's a dancer inside each of us.
Every week I get to see progress. Some people have never danced, and then before you know it, they're leaping across the floor.
We're teaching a new generation. That's why I do it.
We've always taught dance. We're just teaching more of it.
Some of us want to pass exams.
To stay on our feet.
To make new friends.
I dance to be part of a community.
To feel more confident.
Dancing makes me feel brave.
It makes me feel strong. It makes me feel free. Like I'm flying. Everybody can dance.
It fits into our lives in so many ways.
It's art, it's fitness, it's a community.
Everyone needs something in their life that makes them feel happy. And who doesn't want to feel that?
Everybody can dance.
So we truly believe at the Academy that dance is for everyone, and everybody can benefit in terms of well-being, personal skills, and the holistic person truly develops in the pursuit of dance. I mentioned the globality of the Royal Academy. There's also a history and a legacy that you are all connected to when you embark on these educational journeys. The Academy is 104 years old, and we have been providing structures and assessments for progression in dance education for that entire duration. Our vision is really to be a global leader driving excellence in the educational space as an inspiration, not only for young dancers and some slightly older dancers, but also for teachers, something for them really to work with and to underpin their schools and their dance practice. We do this by providing resources and structures, but also training programs that are designed to always champion that excellence, but nurture creativity, artistry and innovation. Because we truly believe that dance enriches lives and can certainly have a transformational effect within communities. It is a global organization, the Royal Academy. We have a membership of wonderful teachers like Mrs. Collymore across about 80 countries in the world. We have regional offices in some 35 countries, and we reach an inordinate amount of people, an extraordinary amount of people. There are over 1,000 teachers currently studying to qualify as RAD qualified teachers at the moment, and about 250,000 people take our examinations and assessments in a year. That's very interesting as well, because not every student will take an assessment and an examination in a yearly sort of cycle. So the reach is truly epic. It's at least twice that number of learners, although very difficult to put an exact number on. And it's dances for everybody. In 2023, our youngest candidate taking an assessment was 3 years old, and the oldest was 93 years old. So it really is about the effects and the appropriateness of dance and movement for the entire community. I'd like to take a little bit of time now to just run through the sort of scope of what the Royal Academy of Dance has to offer. The core of what we've done, and certainly the central to our legacy, is ballet. A graded syllabus which takes you on a kind of laddered journey from absolute beginner as a very potentially young dancer right through to the scope of being able to start out on a professional dancing career. In more recent times, we've done a partnership with the Rambert Dance Company and offer contemporary training in contemporary dance. We have programs for young people in schools, normally from fairly disadvantaged and challenging backgrounds, who would otherwise struggle to access dance education. Our Step Into Dance program rolls out across the UK, particularly in partnership with the Jack Petchey Foundation, is completely open to influences and genres and the areas that the students and the vibes and the feelings and the musics that the students want to dance to. But it gives them opportunities to access that and start to feel the benefits of that. These programs are not used enough around the world. I'm really looking forward to working with all of our teachers across the globe to expand these things out of our headquarters and really put them onto the world map. We have a program called Radiate, which is for people with physical and mental challenges. Mrs. Collymore recognized that there's a need for that here in St. Lucia to really extend these opportunities to those communities that might otherwise miss out. And then we have a program that we call the Silver Swans, which is really for that slightly more senior community, not adults per se, but more the senior end of the adult community, for who health and wellness is really key as they go into their latter years. This program goes as far as being there and able to be offered to people who have mobility issues, so they remain seated throughout a dance class, which is quite revolutionary, and I think has considerable application when considering a society and the health of the older segment of that society. But the core of the RAD is training teachers, giving structures to then have everybody working to targets and goals, and then assessing those to ensure that progression is being highlighted and evidenced. So I'll start off on the teacher training side of things. I won't go into too much detail here, but I want to express to you the sort of range of programs that we have to help teachers get qualified and then have that best dance practice that they can. There are bachelor's programs, 3-year bachelor's programs, some of which are done on a campus kind of scenario and others more online. There are postgraduate programs, master's degrees, particularly giving you more space for research for that area of dance practice that really interests and inspires you, so that you can really get into that area that you want to focus on and become a world expert in. We have programs for people who have been professional dancers but have never taught, who want to convert their skill set to be able to pass on their love of dance and movement to the next generation. And then the main driver and where most of those 1,000 teachers in training are learning is a truly global program called the Certificate in Dance Teaching. We deliver this program across the world in 9 different languages, and you can avail of this in many, many, many countries. There are some online parts to it, there are some in-person parts to it, and it is at the forefront of tertiary teacher training, comparable to any other kind of sector of education. It really is a fantastic program. As I say, all of that, you're developing teachers to then follow through on using structures and resources to lead to assessments, qualifications, and to evidence that progression. We have ballet classes for real youngsters, primaries and pre-primaries, which lead into children ballet classes and graded systems that run from the primary levels that I mentioned up to a grade 8. By the time you're hitting kind of grade 6, 7, and 8, you're in a place where those qualifications that you get on the back of those assessments and exams are going to help you get places in tertiary education institutions and will help present you as an individual with that wider skill set and more rounded individual as a person that university admissions teams are certainly looking for in this increasingly competitive day. Then on the more higher levels, we have a vocational route for those that want to go on and become professionals, right up to our highest level of our award, which is our Solo Seal, which is truly an epic assessment, and I have a lot of respect for anybody who gets through that. We try to be flexible as well to lots of different contexts, so we have different ways that the skills progression can be evidenced, so that different teachers will use it in their context to make sure that it's the most appropriate for their learners, the skills that they have within the school, the resources that they have. So really over that 100 years, we've developed and morphed this into a whole ecosystem of resources, assessments, and training that will help schools operate and have a successful practice with great outcomes. The outcomes aren't just for the schools, though, of course. The outcomes are for the learners, and there's nothing better than, reading this quote here from a teacher in the UK, but just seeing the effect that going into an assessment has on a young person, how they are preparing for a certain date in that diary and having to be ready for it. The nerves and the adrenaline as they're going into the exam room. I can see lots of nodding heads over here. They all experienced it themselves. And then the satisfaction as you walk out, and almost the relief as you've done it, and the pride. And then that extends to getting the lovely certificates and the medals, and it can be a real validation for that young dancer in their training. So in summary, the RAD is an organization that is trying to support its membership of 8,500 teachers across the world in 80 countries to pursue excellence, to drive standards across dance education, and via the assessments, ensuring progression, retention of learners for longer within dance education, and also the outcomes. We want to inspire through good provision, because everybody can dance. Before I finish, I'd like to show you one last... my apologies, I'm getting ahead of myself. One last thing to highlight is that we have a global competition that takes place annually on alternate years, one in London and then one somewhere else in the world, called the Margot Fonteyn International Ballet Competition. And I'm delighted to say that these young dancers, the sort of 16 to 19-year-old age category, they are coming through the RAD system and training. They are exceptional young dancers, and the vast majority of those that take part in the competition are being picked up by professional dance companies in very short periods of time after the competition, really showing that there is a route to careers here, not just the teaching careers, but also the performance careers within the whole ecosystem of what we're trying to do. So I will come to my video now, and this video is an expression of how important the teacher is within this whole setup and, again, ecosystem. And Mrs. Collymore is a great example of this, not only in the effect that she's had here on the communities that she's touched, the longevity of her school and her passion and her motivation to keep influencing dance education here. And we very much look forward to working with her to find that next generation that can take this kind of excellent provision forward for the next 45 years.
A young student called Dipesh moved to Mumbai from a small village in India. He was 16 years old and had never studied ballet before and really wanted to.
I had a really difficult time. I was homeless for 3 months in Mumbai. I had like 30 pounds in my pocket, but that's still a lot in India at that time. At least I could take a train and pay for my rent for the first month, and then nothing really happened. Then I met Pia and then my teacher. They were more than my teacher to me, and I could reach out to her anytime. She was like a guide, a friend, a parent. I'm really, really grateful for everything she have done.
Today, he's living and working with the Rombai Dance Company in London. And I think that's been a huge moment for us at the school, but also for so many young dancers in India, because having a professional career as a dancer is still impossible back home. And so most students have to leave. And for me to be able to see this young boy with no training go from his small town to being in the city that I studied and worked and live in and thriving here has just been an incredible, incredible thing to witness, really. It's very exciting, and it's inspiring so many young dancers to do the same back home.
As a child, I was inspired by my RAD teacher. I always thought and dreamt, yeah, maybe I'd like to do this. Now that I'm here at the RAD, I see how RAD teachers are still creating the next generation of dancers in over 80 countries and making a difference in the lives of young people through the power of dance.
I have always loved dance since I was a child. Being at my then ballet academy, and on day one we had a joint class with all the year groups, and as soon as the teacher started the class, I thought, I'd love to be that person. A lot of my ex-students have come and recently taught for me, which is truly wonderful. And you just see each and every one has their own way of passing on this information. So there's definitely a generation coming to teach that I taught. So that's a lovely ripple effect.
I think a great teacher is someone who is passionate, who is sensitive,
dedicated, caring and nurturing.
I think a teacher has to be able to see each and every student.
Wants to build something that's better and greater than themselves.
The importance of a teacher, a ballet teacher for me, I don't think I really appreciated until I was a professional dancer. That courage that they gave me, that confidence that they gave me, that resilience that they gave me to understand what the world was. And that's not just as a classical dancer either. You know, when you want something badly, how do you achieve it? And those teachers gave me all the tools to be able to do that. And so I couldn't have done it, any of it, without them.
Thank you, Alistair. Your explanation demystifies the art of dance and gives us a deeper appreciation for the discipline and its scope. You also remind us of the enduring importance of partnerships in fostering excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, it has truly been fascinating. As we close, let me echo the words of one of our great St. Lucian voices, Derek Walcott. Break a vase, and the love that reassembles the fragments is stronger than that which took its symmetry for granted when it was whole. This school has built something really beautiful from its dreams, and together we celebrate its strength, its unity, and its enduring grace. Thank you. Thank you to all of our panelists for sharing your thoughts and your vision for the future. This evening is a celebration not just of the past 45 years, but of the limitless possibilities that lie ahead.